Hey guys, I hope you guys are fine. In this video, we are going to discuss about the concept of a virtual destructor in C++. Now, please remember we do not have a virtual constructor in C++, but we do have virtual destructors. What is a virtual destructor? Now, remember the base class has a special property. If I create a pointer to the base class, it can point either to a base class object or to a derived class object. Now, if I have a pointer to a base class and it's pointing to a derived class object, we do not have a virtual destructor in our program or in my base class. It is going to cause unexpected behavior. Let's look at this phenomenon with the help of a very simple example. I'm going to keep the code simple. So I'm going to have a base class which will have nothing but a default constructor and a destructor. Similarly, I will be taking a derived class which will publicly derive from the base class. It's also going to have a default constructor and a destructor. Now please remember, as a general rule, I should include a virtual destructor whenever we have a virtual function. Let's jump back to our example. My file is going to be called as virtualdestructor.cpp and it will be available on our GitHub repository. You can find the link in the description below. So let's start. We're going to keep the code simple. Hash include iostream using standard namespace. So this is my base class. No data members in the public section. This is my default constructor, which simply prints out base constructor to differentiate it from the constructor in the derived class. This is the only thing it does. Not per se. Let me base constructor. Let's go ahead and let's use a destructor here. It does only one thing, base destructor. Okay, so this completes my base class. Let me create my derived class derived, publicly inheriting from base class. And in the public section, I'm going to keep a default constructor, which simply prints out derived constructor. Change the line. Let me put up a destructor here, cout derived destructor endl. This completes the definition of the derived class. Let's go into the main function. Inside the main function, I am going ahead and creating a pointer to my derived class. This pointer is called b. I'm assigning it memory. So this will invoke the derived class. This line will invoke the derived class constructor. Let me create a base class pointer as well. And this points to my derived class here. So base star pt, it's a pointer to my base class, and I'm making it point to the derived class. Remember, I need to destroy the pointer as well, so I'm going to write down delete pt. So this is how I would normally write my program. Let's quickly go ahead and let's try to execute it. So g++ virtual destructor.cpp. Got lucky, no errors there. So if I run it, see, invoke the base constructor, it invoked the derived constructor, it invoked the base destructor. Now this is the output in G++. It may differ in different compilers, but what is missing is I should have invoked a derived destructor as well. Now this is the undefined behavior that we are talking about. There is no derived destructor. In order to invoke that, I should or I will make use of a virtual destructor. Only thing that I need to do is in the base class destructor, just add the keyword virtual before it. This makes it the virtual destructor. Now if I go ahead and if I compile and run the same program, I have what I want. So base constructor, then derived constructor, then comes the derived destructor, and then finally base destructor. So this is the concept of a virtual destructor in C++. Now if quickly just to summarize, if I have my base class pointer pointing to my derived class and I do not put a virtual destructor, then it skips calling the derived destructor here, right? In order to make sure that I am calling the derived destructor, I will put the virtual keyword before the destructor in my base class. This acts as my virtual destructor. I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. Thank you. Stay safe.